It's New Year's Eve 2014. 364 days of running in a row done. It was a cold, frosty one. It was nearly complete. But man, there were some massive mistakes made, which as runners, we should make sure don't happen. Hello and welcome to the Ultra Running Podcast with Coach Marshy, Fat Man to Iron Man. I am Neil Marsh. I would like to welcome you to this week's episode. How are you getting on, guys? How is your training going? We'd love to hear from you, so please get in contact. Any social media handle is absolutely fine. I will not ignore you. I will get back to you eventually. So 2014, running every single day in that calendar year. No drama, completed it. It was the last day, completed it with a 5K. There were some friends there and I was really proud. I completed that running every day in 2014. But for me, there were things that you could always do better, right? So how did I do it? I put some events in there. So I did my first Ironman 70.3, which is a half Ironman event. That was down in Exmoor National Park. I also did my first ultra marathon, which was the Lady Bower 50 event, which I did the 50 miles and completed within the time limit and the cutoffs. And those days after those events, they were, well, painful. You can imagine anyone who's ran the top distance for them, whatever it is, imagine running a day after. It was a big challenge. It was definitely a big challenge. So they were tough. And as well as 2014, I went on and completed this challenge 2 more times. Once again in 2017 and recently in 2020. So 2017, I would say thus far, this is me peaking. So I did other events that year as well. Within that 2017 running every day of the year, and Wings for Life, which is a worldwide event, was taking place here in my hometown in Cambridge, and I felt so up for it. I was absolutely buzzing. The weather was absolutely perfect conditions for running. It was May. I'd done up to May, so I'd done sort of 5 months of running every day. I was feeling good, and I did peak because I was definitely sub 4-hour marathon type of pace going on as well. I was surprised myself that day. My business location happened to be at 14 miles on the route. So I thought, come on, get that half marathon. The previous year, by the way, 2016, I'd only managed 8 miles within that event before I got caught by the car. So for those that don't know, the Wings for Life race involved a car chasing you around the route, and it increased its speed every so often, sort of every half an hour or so, and you had a half-hour head start and you ran away from it. And I managed to get to 16 miles. So I ran past my business, which was great. I'd doubled what I did the year before in terms of distance. And there's lots of reasons for that, but that was 2 hours and about 7 minutes of running. I was absolutely buzzing. Definitely the peak thus far in my journey. And the Hope Alive Tour was in there. The Hope Alive Tour was running multiple times a day, maybe 5K up to 6 times in one day, followed by a marathon in Sierra Leone. That's another story for another day. And then there was the London Marathon. So I had those events in 2017. So that's why I kind of did it. I had lots of big things that I wanted to be successful in that year. So running every day in 2017 seemed like a challenge. And then in 2020 as well, I went for it a third time. And I think this will be the final time. So we'll see. I think it probably will be. And the reason I did it for a third time was because I wanted to, now I was a dad, I wanted to prove to myself that I could still be committed to a massive goal while trying to get to grips with being that parent. And huge credit to my other half, Michelle, for stepping up and allowing me to do that. But the truth is one of the challenges would have been to see how we got on as a family, to allow big commitments to training goals and things happen as well. But the reality was, unfortunately, due to the pandemic, don't get me wrong, it's never been easy to run every day for a year, but there were moments of opportunity that I guess probably wouldn't have presented themselves in a world of working, possibly being committed from 6 to 8 some days, with work 6 in the morning to 8 at night. That commitment to work and the business probably wasn't there. So in some aspects, maybe it was easier. Maybe we didn't find out about ourselves like we were hoping to. But certainly got loads of other things out of it in 2020, and managed to throw an ultra marathon in there as well. Went back to Lady Bower, just did the 35 miler, but that was the first time back since the 50 in 2014. So it seemed fitting, and it was great. I had the London Marathon virtual event. For those of you that were involved in that, you'll know it actually turned out to be quite a good day and a great day for running. So there was lots that I learned, but what I would say is on all 3 of those occasions, there were 3 massive mistakes, which for me as a coach, I see more and more, and so many runners making these mistakes when they're running on multiple days or when they're running every day for a challenge. Okay. And let's be honest, multi-day challenges in the ultra world are becoming more common, and marathons and half marathons, they were very much, whatever, 20 years ago, whatever, they were exceptional. But now people are going that next level, and ultra marathon running and multiple day challenges, they're starting to really become things that me, the common runner, we want to go for. We want to give it a go. And that's no disrespect to what it is, because these events need massive respect. But that multiple day running, that running every day for a year, that kind of concept, for me, there were 3 massive mistakes that I made and that I continually see runners make. So what are the 3 major mistakes when running every day or multiple days? Well, this one's pretty common, and I would say applies to normal racing as well. So anything that would be 5, 10 Ks, half marathons, this probably counts as well. You're going too fast for too long, too far for how often you're planning to run. Okay. So what do I mean by that? If you run really hard and you want to avoid the DOMs, it's important that it's really important that you do indeed give yourself time to recover, but you don't want to add to that pressure. No way. You don't want to add to it. So what I mean by that is you don't want to cause yourself extra pain if you're running on multiple days. So I want you to kind of remember that you're in it for the long haul, and going too fast for too often is going to cause things to happen that wouldn't happen if you just slowed down a little bit. So let's put it this way. Ron Hill, legend in the running world. I'm sure some of you wear the kit. 52 years and 39 days his running streak was for. 52 years and 39 days. That's like what I've managed to do times 52. That's crazy. But he wasn't going out there and smashing it every single day. And he certainly wasn't running half marathons every single day. There would have been days where he ran long, I'm sure. If we research it, I'm sure, that's a great story to learn about. But you're not smashing it all the time. So too fast, too far for how often you're planning to run is the first mistake that people make when doing multiple days or running every day for a year. The second major mistake that people make when running every day or multiple days in a row is recovery techniques, or the lack of recovery techniques. So what do I mean by this? Lack of hot and cold bathing. So cold to hot, hot to cold. Depends, the techniques, they're out there. You can read about them and learn them. But Ice baths. You need to recover if you're going to do it. So you need to use these techniques. The pros use it in all the sports, the multi-endurance sports, they all use it. And for me, the sports science supports it for recovery. It certainly doesn't hinder recovery. So is it placebo? I don't know. But it certainly works for me. And if you look at an elite multi-day endurance athletes event, maybe outside of our sport, maybe in the Tour de France, they're in baths, they're in ice baths. The elite athletes are doing it. It works for them. They can do it. They can perform. And trust me, they're probably performing at a lot higher level than most of us. So those recovery techniques and the eating the right foods and hydration to allow you to run on multiple days. If you get dehydrated, I wasn't eating the right foods. I was eating calories to run every day, especially in 2014. 2017, I tried to learn that mistake. That was an early mistake. But in reality, you got to be hydrated. So that second major mistake is the lack of recovery techniques through nutrition, hydration, hot and cold bathing, and ice bathing. Use them. They're really good. They really work for me. And the third major mistake made when you run every day or you run multiple days is general maintenance and strength and conditioning. Stretching right after you've finished. Are you doing it? Are you doing light strength work as a second session? Hamstrings, glutes, abductors, adductors, quads, core work to support you through this process of multi-day running. If not, why not? You're just going to get tighter and tighter and tighter through the whole of this. That foam rolling, that stretching, so important. So for me, these three major mistakes that I made coming out of these challenges and events, what I'm seeing is when I'm coaching now and I'm mentoring people, is this same things coming up, these same three mistakes. Too fast, too far for what you're planning to do. The lack of use of recovery techniques, which I was awful at, by the way, that one particularly, and general maintenance and strength and conditioning, lack of those things I massively got wrong. And, I do little polls out there on my social media and I find that it's the same thing. Do you foam roll? Not enough. I'd like to do more. We need to do more. We collectively as runners could have a more longevity for our running if we apply these simple techniques. And that's probably not even on multi-day running events or multi-day for a year or whatever, Ron Hill style running, even if it's not that. For me, these techniques are really important, and these three mistakes that we make can really make a difference. So for me, the takeaway, running every day or multiple days in a row is a more common thing now in the running world, with challenges such as, Red January, run every day, and these more extreme, longer events taking place. So what are we doing to allow our bodies to actually do this? Simple. Maintenance, hydration, core strength, and conditioning. Get those things right, and we'll be starting to win for sure. So hopefully you enjoyed today's episode. And if you did enjoy the podcast, be sure to head over to my YouTube channel to find out more about running, strength and conditioning, my accountability training vlog, which I do daily for you to keep up with what I'm doing as well. And to also see the full video version of this podcast. Please don't forget to give the podcast a review. It'd be really much appreciated. And like I say, please get in contact with me. It'd be great to hear your stories about how you get on with your running and your training and anything that we discuss in the podcast. It'd be great to get your thoughts on how you get on with that as well. And if you think you could share this with anyone that could benefit from it, then please absolutely do. I would really appreciate it. So that's all there is to say on this topic today. I hope you enjoyed yourselves, and I hope that I can see you here again next week to discuss more on the Ultra Running Podcast, Coach Marshy, Fat Man to Iron Man.